We're moments away before the start of the last round of the Olympiad. The USA and Ukraine are equal on points, but if the USA win, they're going to get the golds because they have the better tiebreak. But as you can see, huge excitement here. And in the women's section, China are in the lead, but they face Russia. If Russia beat them, then they might just beat them on tiebreak. So huge last round in prospect. And what a close match it was between the Chinese and the Russians. After the time control had been reached at move 40, all 4 games were still in play. Poganina had a clear advantage with a strong pass pawn on the queen side, and she quickly wrapped up the game in her favour. 1-0 to Russia. China evened the score as Tan Zhongyi won a patient positional game against the young Russian star Alexandra Goryachkina, also by forcing home a pawn on the queen side. 1-1. Zhu Wenjun quelled Gunina's middle game initiative and by move 40 had a promising endgame. Once more with a queenside pass pawn, the Chinese player skillfully supported the c-pawn down the board with the aid of rook, bishop and king. 2-1 to China. Ho Yifan had the better opening but wavered a little around the time control. But she was never in serious trouble and she forced a draw in a major piece endgame against Alexandra Kosteniuk. Final score 2.5, 1.5 to China, who claimed the golds with a score of 20 points. Poland got the silver with 17 points, just ahead of Ukraine on tiebreak, who got the bronze. Let's turn back in time to the open section and the match between the USA and Canada. Although the USA were heavy favourites, Canada had been playing way beyond expectations in the tournament thanks to the excellent form of 2 players, Anton Kovalyov and Eric Hansen. Apart from that, 2 of the Americans were a bit under the weather. Wesley So and Hikaru Nakamura were clearly suffering with colds. Nevertheless, it was the USA that struck first as Wesley So completely outplayed Alexandre Lesiège, sacrificing the exchange to get 2 central pawns steaming down the board. There was no defence, 1-0 to the USA. Fabiano Caruana made a promising start to the game, playing the highly topical advanced variation against Barev's Karakan. A good choice against the veteran, and the former Russian looked completely at sea. Caruana forced resignation in just 31 moves, with Barev's pieces scattered all over the pitch. Over on bottom board, Sam Shankland blitzed out his first 20 moves, just like yesterday. But today, Sam ended up a pawn down with a tough defensive task. Eric Hansen kept his nerve, kept complete control, coordinated his pieces, and won a deceptively simple game. The score 2-1 to the USA, who just needed a draw from Nakamura to complete the match victory. His opponent, Anton Kovalyov, was actually under some pressure in the endgame, but he succeeded in exchanging most of the pawns and a draw was the result. Final score 2.5, 1.5 to the USA. Over in the Ukraine-Slovenia match, Ukraine now knew that they had to win the match to stand any chance and also win as high as possible to help their tiebreak score. Andrei Volokitin won on bottom board. That made it 8.5 out of 9 for him for the Olympiad. And Pavel Elyanov ground down the veteran Alexander Belyavsky to give them a winning score of 3-1. The Ukrainians were ecstatic. They'd given themselves the best possible chance. Going into the final round, the USA had the far superior tiebreak score to Ukraine, but the arcane tiebreak system modified Sonneborn-Berger meant that the final result rested on the scores in the last round of other teams that they'd played earlier in the tournament. Absolutely bizarre. The American team captain John Donaldson got out his pen and paper and was calculating the figures as he kept an eye on games that might affect the result. Meanwhile, the Ukrainians were just leaving it to fate. They simply didn't expect to get this close.
You've just beaten Alexander Belyavsky and the team have won 3-1. Do you think you're winners?
I mean, Olympiad, it's not so clear yet. What about which place we took, and still we are under some pressure now because we are waiting for the information, and okay, we'll see.
16.
But in the end, the decision went America's way by a very narrow margin.
Is 14 times 2.
And it was already time to head for the grand closing ceremony.
So, how does that feel?
Oh, it feels great. I mean, yeah. It's first time playing for the U.S. Couldn't have hoped for more.
So, what was the big moment during the tournament that you started to think we're going to do it?
The win against Ukraine went a long way towards winning the whole event. I mean, it was close till the end, but that was one of the most crucial matches.
And a crushing win today.
Crushing is maybe overstating it a bit. 2.5. We probably could have done more, but okay. Eric played very well in last board, so
Big party tonight.
we'll see. I'm not sure yet.
Many congratulations.
Thank you.